Festival, and we're with a very famous fellow, as you probably know, Nick Mancuso. Nick, how you doing? Nice seeing you, and thanks for taking the time.
It's good to meet you,
I'm-
and thank you for being here
I
at
see
the
you-
screening of this very unusual and
It is.
interesting film called
is.
Bruco.
It is, yes.
Written and directed by Antonio D'Alfonso, who is actually a writer, a publisher, and this is a project we put together up in Toronto, and it deals with a theme that is very unusual, especially for an American audience, which is the hybrid reality of being an immigrant, but not in an American sense. It also deals with the nature of language, the nature of distance, the nature of culture. These are not the normal themes that you're going to find nowadays, certainly in the current milieu. And I wanted to do it because, this is sort of stuff that really interests me. And I think it was a pretty good film.
Yes, it
You
was
know,
very interesting.
and I'm sure
a
it
lot of
left a lot
character
of-
development.
Left a lot of questions as
Sure,
to what exactly is going on.
Right.
But part of it is based on a book called In Italics, which Antonio wrote, to which I wrote another. I wrote a book to a response called "Gone Are the False Masks." Like I say, it's very difficult for Americans who become Americans, because if you're an American, you're an American. Period. You're not. Yeah, you could be Italian American like yourself, or
Right.
French American, or Greek
And of course,
American.
you were born in Sicily, you said.
I was born in southern Italy. That's right. That's right.
I'm waiting for Francis Ford Coppola
you
to come out of that.
you better watch it, okay?
That's right.
So, because I was born there.
I saw your entourage. I'm a little nervous.
I learned I learned English by watching Bugs Bunny cartoons, and
Okay.
I
All right.
pulled it off. But no, it's an interesting theme. A little bit like the French films, of the '60s. A little Godard, a little Truffaut,
How
a
do you
little
feel?
Bergman.
How do you feel the movie plays out in like the European countries? Is it well received over there? Have you
Well,
had a
this
chance?
is
This is its first
This is
showing.
this is the first showing. We're trying to get some. I mean, I think it's the kind of picture that certainly would appeal to what we call intellectuals or people
Right,
that think.
right.
There was an audience at one time for films by Bergman and films by Truffaut and Godard here in this country. There isn't that much more, but I think people out there. In the universities and so forth would certainly enjoy this film.
Sure.
And people that actually have one or two thoughts inside their head and, think something every now and then other than,
No, it's a
do
very-
you know
a lot
what I
of-
mean?
yeah, they
It's like
really-
people that read books still, apparently people still do that. Stuff like that.
So it's kind of like the actors had fun with the language.
Yeah.
It seemed like.
Yeah, well, it was all about language. It was in Serbian, Italian, in French, and I know Antonio, but there's some other languages in there thrown in. Had a kind of a Spanish was in there.
Wow.
So 4 or
Yeah.
5 languages.
That's
And I think
fantastic.
Antonio's the next film. Come over here, Antonio.
Come on,
Say hello
Antonio.
to
All right,
the
we got the
camera.
director
This
and
is
the writer.
This is the writer.
Antonio, Rich
director,
Rossi. Nice seeing
Antonio
you.
D'Alfonso.
Fabulous. piece of
Also,
work.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Also
That's
the
very kind.
publisher of Guernica Press.
Thank you.
Antonio has published over 800 books up in
Jeez.
Canada. He's
I
also
know.
a terrific writer.
that's
And his books are actually all over the world. And his one book, In Italics, is kind of a seminal work in the nature of ethnic semiology, meaning, culture. These are themes that are important themes and that, we just don't get a chance to deal with in the current milieu of basically a homogenized culture. And
Can you tell us a little bit about your character in this movie that we just saw?
well, I have no idea. I'd have to ask Antonio. Antonio, what was the character about?
Well, he
I mean,
plays
I
two
haven't got a
characters,
clue.
right? He plays the dead father,
Right.
and then he plays the friend, right? And
He's after the interview there with.
so you have two things going on there. You have the father, and then you have the.
Which is a very heavy part.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. So you're talking about ancestors, and I think the whole idea of finding oneself goes through the ancestors. And when Nick's character Mario talks about writing and the language dying, and he says, "Well, we could be." In this case, they're Italians. It could be anybody else. So if we lose this language, do we lose our culture?
Right.
The idea of do we lose ourselves if we lose our parents?
It reminded me a lot like Fellini. So, I mean, the mask and stuff, some of the bizarre nature. It was very Fellini-ish in a way.
That's very kind. That's a big compliment.
That's a huge compliment.
That's a
but it's closer.
Well, there was some aspects that look a little like
closer
Fellini.
to Antonioni. It's a little
Antononi.
closer to Antonioni.
He's got a whole new genre, Antononi.
Yeah.
All right.
Antonioni, in terms of the framing and all that. And the kind of the empty space, which is very kind of, in a sense, very un-American.
Right.
The empty space is something that is very European. The movable space. I mean, these are ideas that really aren't that common here in the States. But I guess because Canada is somewhere between Europe and
And
the
the
States, it
It's an
still
Yeah.
has a European kind of quality.
Well,
It's an American reality. You know, it's up there, but it's American reality.
It had a lot of interesting surprises in it. It was just it had and it's very interesting the way you captured it. Yeah, I like the way you sort of like the people are talking to the camera, almost documentary style,
Well, I wanted the
and then you
actors-
go into some acting. So it was kind of an interesting blend of a lot of styles, more or less.
When you have the camera in front of a body for 9 minutes,
Yeah.
the body takes over, right? And that was the whole idea. You know, when you have Nick being the
Yes.
father, I mean, he has to physically bring down and breathe. You hear the breathing,
Yeah.
and that was the whole
But
idea.
it's great you left all the background noise and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
which
Well,
is
we
really
added a
nice.
lot of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real sound except for the voice.
Right.
But the whole exercise was it's a love song
Yeah.
to actors.
No, you can tell. It was very Italian. It was a very Italian film. I want to thank you guys. It's been so nice. I'm with the Three Paisans. We're going to open up a restaurant, Three Brothers Pizza,
Pizzeria.
a pizzeria, Three Brothers Pizza.
If you don't enjoy the movie, come and have the pizza.
That's right.
Yeah, that'll
So
be-
Nick Mancuso,
Okay,
thank you
it's a
so much
pleasure.
for joining us.
It's a
Hope to
pleasure.
see you soon. And what are you doing next? Anything next that's for you?
I have a series of projects. One of which is a project called Phoenix, which is a TV series which I'm developing. I have a screenplay I've written called Blood Moon, which is now in rewriting mode that I'm hoping to do with Ralph Thomas, with whom I did Ticket to Heaven. And I just did a documentary in southern Italy on the history of Calabria, called Calabrian Journey. And I also write a great deal. So I have a lot of stuff in the
You're
works.
pretty busy.
I also paint. So
Oh, that's
anyway,
fantastic.
yeah.
And Antonio, I know you're working on a new film about
Yes,
languages.
Yes. Well, I'm doing Antigone.
Oh, that's
By
We
Sophocles.
talked about that. 5 different languages. Well, listen, fellas, ci ventiani, and it's great meeting you, and buon
Grazie.
futuro, and all that good
Piacere.
stuff.
Grazie.
Ci vedi?
Thank
Okay,
you.
grazie. All right, ciao.
Stingray.